Okay, hi guys, welcome back to the Audio Levels channel. Welcome back to another review. Today we are taking a look at this. This is the SeeAudio Bravery. SeeAudio, a very nice brand, makes some very high-end in-ear monitors. This one is good, but with caveats, as there always is, and the caveats usually come in the form of the competition that they're going up against directly, and this one's in a competitive price point. I think this headphone comes in at about $280. It is a 4-balanced armature, and I think it's got some three-way crossover, and I was told that it's something to do with designed in collaboration with the community. It's using a combination of nose and sonian balanced armatures to create the sound, and I think the sound is good. I do actually really like these, especially when we get into talking about some tracks, because this is a very track dependent earphone. I was getting some weird results here. Let's first of all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please go ahead and subscribe, hit that like button. Welcome to the channel, glad to have you on board. We review tons and tons and tons of earphones here, earphones, headphones, DAP stacks, all that other good stuff. We do giveaways to our subscribers, and we do buyer's guides. So if you're looking for the buyer's guide right now, today, this is probably going to go up on the 11th of the 11th. So please go ahead and check out the 11/11 deals videos, and you can find a lot of the earphones I'm going to talk about with discounts on them. Now, let's get into this straight away. The box is super weeb. I used to live in Asia. I know exactly what brands try and do with marketing like this. I think it's fine. It's okay to do this sort of thing, but it is sort of catering to a certain audience. They have this weeb theme, and it comes with these little SeeAudio stand things, I guess. I personally have no use for it, but if you're into that and you want to collect it, that's fine. So SeeAudio Bravery box, it's saying Knowles, Sonian, Asla, that's the type of tips that they include in the box. And they actually do quite a good description through the electronic frequency divider filter combined with the independent sound chamber together with the precise measured distance between drivers and nozzles provides an exquisite sound. The use of electronic frequency driver filter that consists of 2 different physical frequency division filters, blah 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 blah, 4 balanced armatures, 3 frequency bands. So that the drivers are being set up to take care of the different configuration, and here you get it there. The 2 nulls are handling the lows, and you get the Sonian, 1 for the mids and 1 for the highs. This is the frequency response graph that they give you. It's actually, I never really trust graphs like this, but having listened to it, it's pretty much what you're hearing. It's quite bass prominent for a balanced armature, and it has very recessed mids. And then there's a spike into the treble, so it's kind of a V shape, but we'll talk about how that affects the sound overall, and then you just on the other side have SeeAudio. Once you open up the box, it's a nice cardboard box, you're faced with this envelope. In here you have the earphones with the cable attached, and you get the carry case. I'll get into that in a second. First I want to show you the little envelope that they give you, which folds into another sort of weeb themed heart there. So they're definitely running with the theme, and then on the inside you get tons of, you get a postcard, a Bravery postcard, another Bravery postcard with SeeAudio on it. This is all kind of creepy a little bit as a guy in his late 30s. You get a little SeeAudio card, SeeAudio again, and some filter tips that you can switch out, and I think this is stickers, yes, SeeAudio stickers. So maybe I'll go and stick some of that on my motorbikes. Probably not. Let's go take a look at the box in here. In here you get a super generic box. This is the LZ Audio. You notice any similarities? I've seen this a million different times on earphones from $50 up to $250, $300, $400. It's actually not bad for carrying around. I'm not having a go at that. It's got some padding on the inside, and it's kind of sealed against the elements, so it's pretty decent. What is good and bad is that they don't give you a lot of accessories. There's not much that comes with this, just these two different sets of tips. So realistically, if you're a medium size, you're going to have one set of foam tips and one set of ASLA Excelastic tips. And I think next to the Final Audio E3000, these tips are my second favorite on the market. They are super, super, super rubbery, grippy. They're super easy to get a good tight seal with in your ears. I'm really enjoying using these on these earphones because they have a medium depth insertion. The cable is trash. There's no two ways about it, and it's not trash because it's a bad cable. Actually, when I pulled it out of the box, I was like, actually, you know what? It's using thick gauge. It's got metal hardware on it. It feels like a nice high-end cable on it. It's a corded cable as opposed to let's grab something that comes with the Fearless Audio, the new Shangri-La cable, for example. They've got this braid pattern. I'll leave that out because I want to discuss this. Let's go over the basics of it. You get a 3.5mm balance, which a 3.5mm standard stereo jack. I think you should be including some sort of balanced options at this price. This is $279-ish or so. It has just a twisted cord cable and then metal splitter point with SeeAudio logo and metal cable cinch. So that's all good, but when you get up to the top here, there is no cable guide. So it just kind of flops about straight. I mean, this could be a straight down earphone cable. The other thing that I found kind of weird was that the 2-pin termination looks like it's designed to be used with a recessed earphone. If you bear with me a second, I'll see if I can get, there's an LZ-A4. Let's see if it would be better suited to the LZ-A4. So I'm talking about this recess in here, that if I put that in, it sits in there better. Whereas with this, they've just gone with a flush mounted, but it looks like they've gone with a recessed connector. So, you know, why? Because that looks kind of sloppy to me. The other thing, not having the cable guides here, this is where we're going to run into problems. A cable guide going over the top of the ear is going to cut down on microphonics. What do I mean by microphonics? Well, when your shirt, for example, rubs against this fabric, it will make a noise. That's basically what's happening, and because there's no braid pattern to cut the sound off and there's no cable guide to cut the sound off, the sound just travels straight up to the earphones, and I can actually hear the cable swinging about. If I'm just wearing a t-shirt and the earphones over the top, I can hear lots and lots of microphonics here. Corded cables kind of work okay as long as they've got a cable guide on them. The best solution though is to go for a braided cable. Usually, you know, if microphonics is picked up here, it does not transfer past the next point of contact with a cable. The cable guides in the end make contact with the ears and sort of ground out that sound, stop vibrations travelling up. I found that the vibrations were travelling straight up this and into the earphone. So two faults on the cable. Number one, you're using a recessed plug on a non-recessed earphone. And the other point was that the microphonics is quite bad on that. Otherwise, it's quite a well-made cable. I'm not complaining about that at all. Let's leave this out because we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. What else are we going to talk about? Leave a few other things out. So let's look at the earphones themselves. The earphones are pretty basic for the... Take off these awesome ear tips. This is pretty bog standard across the line right now, is this acrylic shell. Not good, not bad. For instance, there's a more expensive earphone that uses it, the Audio Oracle. Very, very similar design. You wouldn't be able to tell them apart if it wasn't for the branding. I'm trying to see if I've got any other ones sitting about just now. I don't. But yeah, this is a very, very common, there's SeeAudio's on Yumi, so you can't really tell the difference apart from that faceplate and maybe the slightly larger size, same venting ports, same nozzles on the end of it. It's nicely done. It's the good thing about this is it's ergonomically friendly. It's quite a lightweight earphone using all balanced armatures. There's no dynamic drivers on the inside there. The faceplate design is gorgeous on this one. Really, really good looking faceplate design with the sort of white swirl sitting in amongst the black and a tastefully done SeeAudio logo. and on this one you get a different sort of pattern there. Really like the way that looks. Anyway, getting into the sound, the most important part of it, how do they sound? They sound good with caveats. The first caveats are going to be that it's very dependent on the type of music you listen to. This isn't all balanced armature earphones, so you're not getting the sort of advances of having hybrid technology, TRIBRID technology, planars, that sort of stuff. Straight up balanced armatures. With some of the songs, let's go into this. Does anybody know what this is? Instead of weebing, well, I have a go at weebing, but then I'm big into this. Let's open Tidal. I was listening to Heavyweight, was the last song that I listened to on it, and we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go to the specific Bravery playlist. Okay, these are the songs that I wanted to identify on the Bravery in particular. So I've selected these songs. Some of these songs, and I want to talk about Bob Marley Redemption Song. So one of the best things about Redemption Song is the intro, dun, 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 and then that intro is the main part of the song. It's the thing that drags you in. It gets you going, and Bob's voice sounds distant in comparison with the instrumental on it. The same thing I noticed when was it Sting on The Police. Everything she does is magic. It's like an older song, but when he comes in, the instrumentation, I turned it on. I'm like, yes, and then Sting's voice comes in, and it is very distant in comparison with the overall sound of the instrumentation going on. Going down south, the Black Keys was a similar sort of thing, although it sounded very good because of it's got more of the Black Keys has got more of a high-pitched vocal to it in going down south. So I think the problem extended to lower weight male vocals, because I definitely think that the upper mid-range is more prominent and it works better with female vocals, J-rock, J-pop, that sort of stuff. And you wouldn't be surprised, because these are designed to be used with sold in the Asian market predominantly, and we're just lucky that we can buy them from there. Cheek to Cheek, funnily enough, Louis Armstrong, who's got a super deep voice, that sounded absolutely fantastic. It sounded very heavy. Groovin' Dizzy Gillespie, that was a little bit what I was going to talk about, the metallic sound of the balanced armature drivers. There was some points in that where the saxophone just became a little bit abrasive and metallic sounding. It's quite a metallic sounding song if you've ever listened to Groovin' High. It just sounds a little bit metallic at certain points, like leading into the choruses and stuff. Leaving Eden sounded fantastic. Leaving Eden, Carolina Chocolate Drops, absolutely amazing sound to it. It was a very natural sounding presentation to it. Rihanna Giddens' vocals sounded fantastic, and that's where I started to realise I'd started off with a lot of male vocals, and then I went into the female vocals, and I was like, actually this does work really well. So Leaving Eden, absolutely bang on. Down on My Knees by Io, another female vocal song, but she gets very raspy in it, sounded fantastic, all perfectly in line with each other. And I think again it's because the majority of the vocals in that is sitting towards the upper mid-range. Quick Musical Doodles by 2 Feet, my standard sort of bass drop track test song, whatever you want to call it. When it comes in and it drops that first sub bass, like boom, sounded amazing for balanced armatures. The bass is really good on this when it wants to be, and that's using the rubbery tips. If you use it with the foam tips, I found that the foam tips did tame somewhat the treble issues that I was having with it, but you did it at the expense of the bass. The super tight seal on these created really quite deep and realistic sub bass for a balanced armature. I'm not getting into like dynamic drivers, but for a balanced armature, that was really surprising and impressive. And then we have the song which I sort of think sums up this earphone really well. Infected Mushroom, Heavyweight. Infected Mushroom Heavyweight is, in my mind, probably the best Infected Mushroom song that they ever made. I listened to them way back, like 2000, earlier than 2000. I think when there was another band around and it was Infected Mushroom and Flying Rhino, or was it White Rhino? Flying Rhino. Infected Mushroom sort of stood the test of time because they kept evolving their songs, and when they released Vicious Delicious, it was such a departure from what they'd previously done with the sort of psytrance. They brought in elements of rap, they brought in elements of rock, lots of heavy guitars. There's an area in the song where it goes wow 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 wow. I know I'm butchering that, but this has a little bit of everything in this song. I strongly suggest MD goes and listens to Heavyweight by Infected Mushroom on a good set of earphones, and you get all sorts of layering. I don't know how they keep such a complex layering going, but this performed really well and didn't lack in the bass. But what these earphones do is really good separation and imaging. Like, nothing sounds congested, nothing sounds too like stepping over each other. The only two issues I would maybe have is the slight metallic sheen on the treble when you're listening to jazz or hi-hats sometimes, and then on some songs where the vocal range just hit right in the middle of the mids, it sounded too far back from the bass and the treble. Other than that, it sounded incredibly impressive with this song, and that was surprising, like how well it performed with the bass heavier genres, because it's not a bass heavy earphone per se. You wouldn't notice the bass if you're listening to rock or metal or something like that. Now, in terms of comparison, this is where the problem sort of lies. Is LZ A4 Pro. It is a hybrid earphone. It's got balanced armatures and it has a dynamic driver in there. It's tuned beautifully from the straight out the box, but it also has these adaptive filters where you can sort of tune that to be whatever you want it to be. That's the same price. I think it's got a better cable. It's got the same box, and it doesn't have the same good sort of ear tips, but very similar build quality other than that. But I think you're getting more value for money because you're getting good sound quality, but you're getting the adaptability of all of this. Then I would want to bring in, of course, the P1s. If you've got power to drive it, remember I consider the P1s to be the P1s and the P1 pluses, and let's throw in the 7Hz timeless as well. Both of these I think are better, overall better, about the same. It depends. It really depends on the music and whether you've not got power to drive them. Both of these earphones are very power hungry, so if you're just playing out a standard device or out your phone or something like that, you're going to need to spend maybe $100 on an E1DA DAC amplifier sort of thing to really give them the power that they deserve. Also, both of these don't have very good cables, and the Timeless has one of the worst faceplate design. Well, I'm going to say the worst faceplate design I've ever seen in my life. That somebody just glued a circle on the end of it. The P1 is very boring looking, and it has a really bad cable that oxidizes over time. Now, would I put it up there with them? I don't know. It definitely sounds unique and different because this is a planar, this is a planar, this is a hybrid, and then the SeeAudio Bravery is a all balanced armature earphone, and I think the big problem that you've got right there is something called the Manguard T. And the Manguard T is pretty much the gold standard at that price point. It's $300 for the Manguard T. It's a 6 balanced armature, 1 dynamic driver, hybrid earphone, and it sounds amazing. It is tuned beyond belief. It has a better cable, it has a better case. Does it come with, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, you can get the cable termination and balanced. It comes with an airplane adapter, all that other stuff. My pick for that price instead of these is going to be the Manguard T, obviously. So very good earphone, very good when it gets going, as I say, with Infected Mushroom and stuff, but you're competing directly with the Mango T at $300. You're competing directly with the 7 Hz if people have got power to drive it, and you're dealing with the versatility of the LZ-A4 Pro. So I'm going to keep it under 20 minutes just. I'll see you on the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one. Peace.